Hello guys, the DB Grinder here, back at it again with another video, and this time I am here with
Isaiah Houston.
And what'd you do and what'd you play?
I got top 8 at YCS Charlotte, and I played Prank Kids Goes on an Adventure.
Alright, and you want to do any shout outs before we hop into the deck profile?
Yeah, shout out my team, my testing partners, Church of Pablo, everybody in New York, Gamer's Choice, helped me play test, all my friends and family that, instilled a lot of faith that I can, get at this far and win the events. But I ended up losing in top 8 to Cyber's Eldritch Brave, and really unfortunate. Didn't draw any Brave cards, lost like DP hand traps, but I played 15 Prank Kid monsters. So I played 3 green, 3 blue, 3 red, 2 brown. Foolish Burial, Gain, Burn, and then Mulligan. Then for some extra names, I just played 1 Terra, 3 plays. And then for the utilities, I played 1 Pandemonium and 1 Pranks. For the adventure cards, I played 3 the Foolish, the necessary requirements, 2 Faithful was really good. Anytime I do even double Faithful or right Faithful, I go right, and then I go effect to search, or they interact with it, pop it, and I just place the second, and that probably win me the game because I'm able to get to the equip, or even if I start with this and just go effect and they pop it, I'll play another one. Like if I summon it, I get the equip card, so that was pretty good. For the extenders, I just played the 2 bricks, played Fusion Destiny, 2 Illusion, 2 Souls. At the regional that I played, at Philly regionals, I was playing 3 of these, and with Small Worlds. I cut the Small Worlds, and I cut 1 because I was seeing Souls with hand traps, so that really it was just a body at that point. I feel like 2/2 was really good. I didn't see it too much. I saw it when I needed it. And then for Spice, I played 2 Parallax Seed, and then Artifact Scythe. So these spots could be anything. These were Small Worlds before, so I was just trying this. In testing, Scythe was kind of mid, but it was really pretty good this event. Either I crossed out the Scythe to win a game, or I DP Scythe my opponent. In the mirror match I played in Swiss, I actually hard drew it, and it won me the game because he had went first. I was able to break his board, and then I just made DP with Scythe. And even though he had more card advantage, I was drawing 3 with too much pressure on the board, so he had to go to game 2.
So how was Parallel over the weekend?
Oh, so Parallel is actually really cool. So I had cut the 3rd Parallel for the terraforming to give me the 15th name. But Parallel is just a card that allows you to play one of your worst hands when you don't see Kid. You can still end on Scythe, DP. You could even play Devote in the extra deck just to help trigger it. But I just didn't want to devote a 1 extra deck spot to a card that I wouldn't see every game, especially playing 60. But I side it out every time I'm going second. Going first is really good because at worst you chain block a Kid. You don't summon the second one because you don't want to be in a situation where if the player nibs you before you resolve Doodle Effect to add the pranks, you're in a bad spot. And it's never dead even if you're playing 2, because you summon 1, and if you draw it later on, it's still a body at worst. So it was really good, but I definitely would want to, if I'm gonna play 60, I'd want to try to incorporate Small World because it adds either a Kid, Temple, or a Nibiru, which is the strongest cards in the deck. Speaking of Nibiru, I don't think I resolved this all day today. I either didn't draw it, or when I drew it, it was not needed at the time. So I did play 17 hand traps out of 60. So just the 3 Nib, 3 Ash, 3 Ogre. Ogre was pretty insane all day, hitting Brave cards. Occasionally hit DP just to make them pop extra card, but I feel like if I'm doing that, I'm already in a bad spot. But Ogre was good. Veiler was good. That was insane too. Like in times like with this deck, you really need a Brave card in order to like out the DP, because like it'll bait the DP at least if they don't have Ogre, and then that'll let you summon Kid. But if you don't draw it, like you lose a lot like to DP if you just normal summon a Prank Kid. So even if they summon DP or Verte, a lot of the times when they go to end phase, you'll just like don't play anything. You have enough defensive cards. Their DP will die. They'll use effect and you dispel it. And they can't resolve Celestial because they have all their hand traps in hand that they can't use. So that helped me against a mirror match and against another. So many DP. Every deck was DP deck. I don't know if it was a PK player or a Cyrus Outlich that I played that I did that and it was game winning. And then the Imperms. Imperm was good. I never like to see this card going first because I feel like you just have to set it, and then like it doesn't trade with like they still keep the body, but it's really good going second to like hit DP for like sixth card. And then just the 4 final cards, like just defensive cards, cross out, and then call by the grave.
Alright, so why did you decide to end up main decking cross out?
I feel like with 60, like there's so many combination of cards that you can draw, and like you only really need one play to resolve, which is like the Kid. So you can see like a hand trap, or you can see like cross out and then like Kid, or like 2 hand traps, and that'll be like enough. Like you don't need every card all the time to be like a hand trap. You can have 1 or 2 and then have like a Kid, and and then this will just push your one playthrough. And a lot of times they stop that. If you have an extender or something, then that'll get you to DP. So I feel like it was fine in the main. It never really conflicted. Also too, because I play the Scythe, a worst case scenario is another card that stops Scythe. Yeah, it was pretty insane. Like if you open Brave in this, it's really hard to lose because they basically now need another hand trap to stop the Brave and the Griffin, and then you have cross out for the highest impact one. So this was good. Also in the mirror too, like these are like game winning. So like in my mirror match, I opened 1 hand trap, but that was enough because he didn't have Brave. I ogred, it was top 16. I ogred his pranks at end phase, and then I had call by for Bow Wow. But it could have been cross out too, because I'll gladly give up the Pandemonium because your Butler is no longer your win con. You have DP in the deck. So a lot of times DP will get you there with hand traps, especially in the mirror. Because once you clear their board and they don't have Meow access, they can't really do anything. So for extra deck, I played 2 tokens, Bow Wow, 2 Doodle. I really like 3 Doodle for the utility, but in testing, it really didn't come up. Even worst case scenario, if my ogre got pranked, like if my pranks got ogred, I was like, you might lose the game because that card is like very important, but it wasn't always like game ending. If I was able to get to a DP with other like cards, it really didn't matter. So 2 is fine. 1 Meow, 1 Washer, 1 Butler. A lot of times, the way you do your combo, you would shuffle back these 3, so you get a free draw at the end of phase, and then like you'd have like DP and like Scythe, or like just DP and hand traps. A lot of times I would, if I know I'm going for DP based on like how they hand trap me or how like my hand is and what I expect to like I can play around, I would not even send the fusion spell. So I'd send pranks off of, not pranks, I send place off of green. I'd search the pranks, I'd add back to place, I shuffle these back, so I have DPE, I'd have a prank hit for next turn. That's enough to win the game right there. And then I have whatever like defensive cards that I drew, and then that's really good. Like my strategy going second, I going first games 2 and 3 because I play around Twin Twisters, and then you can always pop Verte. Like if they didn't bell you, you can pop Verte and DP to play around the Super Poly, because if they were to bell you, they would have belled you on the Doodle effect to add back. And then if you did that, you don't care about Bell because the DP is coming back at that point. And then double verte. So a lot of times, if you have an extender or you have a double prank hit card, then that allow you to do your combo. You do like a nib check. You summon this. They'll nib here, and then you turn the token into Link Spider. You go pranks, and then turn these into the second verte. Or if you don't have, just to have the extender, you just summon that. And you just don't summon like this card. And then this is good because you can turn the pranks token into a dark, also like an effect monster. And then you can even turn the fansies into this. And then you can make a charmer, which steals like the opposing DP. And then like Dagda. So last minute I was stuck on like, did I just want to play like the Parallax Seed and the Scythe like this? But I felt like this card kind of made losing to Flunders really hard going first if I didn't get Shifter because I searched Lancia. So that even at worst case, they would ruler me, but they would still be under Lancia, and I'd still have hand traps, and they have no follow-up. So, and I know I don't get evenly, which is the thing that I would get hurt by the most, is getting evenly and have like a token on board. I lost a lot in like testing to that. So that was good. And then, you know, like game-winning cards, you know, Unicorn spin back and then access.
So I saw that you decided to not run the Rocket Ride. Why is that?
So in testing the Rocket Ride, like even you could do like play the one instant fusion, but to play instant fusion, you'd have to play Rocket Ride, and then you're only playing one of these. Like Rocket Ride really only comes up if you have instant fusion or you normal summon and they activate, and then you have to chain that. But that's a really bad play anyway because you're locked into pranks, and then you have to play hard into nib, and like all you would get out of it is a butler at most. It's like that like never won you like the game. It was kind of like a poor concession. So I'd just rather not have played the card. If I played like a 40 card list, then I would include it because like instant fusion into ride is like very strong. But in the 60 card, it didn't feel like worth it to me. Yeah, that was like the main and extra. And then for the side, I probably should have played Winter Cherries. There was a lot of like rumblings about it before the event, but I just decided because I didn't want another dead card against Flunder in my side because I already have a lot of dead cards in the main against them. So even though this wasn't like the greatest hand trap, I knew that if I did see a Flunder, it was like one of the highest impact hand trap to play. So cause like my thought process was like I could play one of this and then play like Cherries or something, but I really expected to play a few Flunders, but I dodged Flunders completely. So also played the 3 Kaijus. So this was pretty good. Mainly I wanted a Dragoon out in my deck. Also, like, this is really good against Swordsfall. Like, if they choose to play around like Nib and go She Shall Blackout, you just Kaiju. You get Draco back to Kaiju, or you just get rid of like She Shall Blackout, which is pretty good. It was backed up with hand traps. Also, a lot of the Scythe decks too, they don't shotgun the DP because they're afraid of like getting gammaed. So, or like getting impermed, which is like way more popular than this. So what I do is against certain matchups, like Cyber's Eldritch especially, I wouldn't do this against Based because they just have so much. I just put like the gammas in and other stuff. But against Cyber's Eldritch, I just draw this and go main phase and tribute over like the DP. And like that's like the best play that they have, like the 1-card DP. So like, if you could do that, that could be game winning in itself. But it's only as good as if people are expecting it. Because then they can shotgun the DP, but I still have other cards too that would punish them for that. So it was pretty good, but like in hindsight, they would probably just be Cherries because all my losses were to my opponent having like DP and me not seeing like a Brave card or any way to like combat the DP. Just like the 3rd Bell for like the mirror, since I wasn't like playing Cherries, I just wanted another card for like the mirror, and Bell was good. And I didn't respect Eldritch, but crazy enough is in the final, so. I just played like these cards just to have generic back row hate for anything. So
All right. You want to do any final shout outs or anything before we go ahead and sign off?
No, thanks DB Grinder for the profile, and hope you guys enjoyed and got some good insight.
Yep. Congrats on the top. And with that being said, the DB Grinder signing off. Peace.